Well, folks, I'm back. A little bit sick right now, but obviously, so that's why I'm kind of starting a little later than usual, even though I do have a week until the next case. This is case 5, Immortal Combat. Good old LA. Matthew, finding the vampire who's on a quest to become invincible is going to be tough, but if anyone's up to the challenge, it's you. The vampire, or many vampires, we don't know who's behind the plan. Either way, they have the crucial ingredient for making the elixir of invincibility, and we must stop them before they use it. The last thing we need is an invincible vampire at large in LA. Thankfully, we know that Mina's blood can still destroy any vampire that drinks the elixir. Mina was a bit freaked out when we asked her to give us some blood, but thankfully she agreed, so we have the stakes dipped in her blood at the ready. We also know Dr. Oculus is hosting a Death Day ball at his mansion tonight, and the culprit is sure to be among them. So I guess I had no choice but to accept Pierce's invitation to attend. This is a dangerous mission, Gwen. You're there to do your job, not flirt with a vampire. Of course. Besides, Pierce and I are totally over. Totally. Matthew, let me just touch up my makeup, and then we can head to Dr. Oculus's ball to sniff out our renegade vamp. No head either. Am I going to be speeding things up? We'll see what happens. Oh my god, Matthew! Is that Dr. Oculus? Where's his head? I need a minute to take this in. Dr. Oculus is the most esteemed vampire like ever. Who'd dare kill him? And at his own party? Matthew, we came here to figure out which vampire is making the elixir of invincibility, and now the vampire's coven leader is dead. This can't be a coincidence. But the question is, was Dr. Oculus involved in the plot, or did he find the evildoer who then silenced him? We need to investigate. This fan has seen better days, but recovering the name on it might give us a lead. Gwen, cutie, I'm so glad you accepted my invitation. Wait, what the hell happened here? Dr. Oculus, he's dead. I'm afraid so, Pierce, and we need to question you about it. Moment, folks. I needed a drink, that's why. I'm gonna get me a bunch of stars, so sit tight, everybody. Okay, let's examine the tattered fan first. Bathsheba. This fan belongs to Bathsheba, Matthew. Isn't she the vampire you met while investigating Bigfoot's murder? I heard she was kind of kooky. Bathsheba must be around here somewhere. Let's see what she can tell us about Dr. Oculus. Have you come to dance with us, Matthew? I love dancing, but tonight there's something amiss, like one of the stars has gone out. Well, I'm afraid the dancing will have to wait. Dr. Oculus has been murdered. Daddy? Daddy's dead? No. First Biggie, now my knight in shining armor? Why is everyone leaving me? Daddy was my savior. He adopted me when the baddies came and ate my family's hearts for snacks. I'm hungry for snacks, Matthew, but now Daddy will never feed me or sup from the sacred chalice of Dominion again. The skies will weep tonight. Babe, I'm so sorry that this party didn't turn out to be the romantic night I had planned. Pierce, I told you not to keep calling me that. We're not together anymore, remember? Now, any chance you could tell us who might have killed Dr. Oculus? If I knew, I'd have ripped their head off already. See, the only people here besides you are vamps, and vampires killing vampires ain't good times. But if anyone can solve Dr. Oculus's murder, it's you two. And it doesn't hurt that it means seeing more of you, Gwen. Now, I'm not sure where everyone's got to, but if I were you, I'd look for clues outside. All the guests came in through the driveway. Moment, folks. Alright, I had a little bit of my soup. Got it. Matthew, I almost wish my small-minded family could see me now, hanging out at a vampire ball. They'd probably disown me if they haven't already. But you're right, we're not here to socialize. We need to find Dr. Oculus's killer. With any luck, it'll lead us to our invincibility-seeking vamp. I'll grab the taping going to stick that torn paper back together, and let's have a rummage through that box. Okay. Camera ran out of, Bandy camera ran out of film time. It's at 10 minutes. But I got a lot more stars, so doing this should be no problem. This card is faded, Matthew. Can you recover the text? Eric's invitation. Matthew, this invitation is to Dr. Oculus' Death Day Ball. It's addressed to Eric Zwart. Why does that name sound familiar? Oh, Eric was that poor guy we met while investigating Lucy Winter's murder. He was so heartbroken by her death. Hold on a minute. Pierce said that we were the only humans invited to the ball. Which means Eric must be a vampire. Let's question him, Matthew. You're the reporters who investigated my beloved Lucy's murder. What are you doing here? You're in no position to be asking questions. We know that you lied to us. You're a vampire. What does that have to do with anything? My beloved Lucy is still dead, and my mere existence is an agony worse than the fires of hell. You know who else is dead, Eric? Your coven leader, Dr. Oculus. We found him beheaded right here in the ballroom. Another death? Life is relentless in the blows it strikes against me, Matthew. Not as relentless as Matthew in their quest to find his killer, and your presence near the crime scene means we're adding you to the suspect list. My presence? I'm only here because Dr. Oculus insisted I come to this stupid ball, despite the searing pain which torments my every waking moment. Oh, how I envy his death. What I wouldn't give to shuffle off this immortal coil. Bloody glove. Wait a minute. Okay. What was that bloody glove doing among those party decorations, Matthew? Priya will tell us whether the Bloods are victims. Let's send her the glove. Three hours. I'll see you guys when these two are finished. Okay, we've returned. I'm starting to get a little better. Let's get the results of the bloody glove first. Matthew, is the vampire ball as fabulous as I imagine it? I've heard Dr. Oculus celebrated his death day every year with a sort of old-fashioned, elegant soiree befitting a centuries-old vampire. Under different circumstances, I wouldn't have minded attending myself. I was no stranger to getting dressed up and spending the night at a swanky party with my friends. Back when I was making crazy money in New York City. Unfortunately, the party was cut short. We need to find which of Dr. Oculus's guests is behind his murder. Yes, I can imagine finding Dr. Oculus dead was a bit of a shock, but perhaps his glove might help ID his killer. The blood on the glove was Dr. Oculus, which means your killer must have dropped it outside after the murder. But what's more important is the accessory itself. It's the type worn by ballroom dancers. I imagine centuries-old vampires are pretty hot on ballroom etiquette, so everyone taking part in the dance would have worn these gloves. But only one of them broke away from the ballroom dancing to commit murder, your killer. So our killer enjoys ballroom dancing, do they? Their dance of death will soon be over. Matthew, if there's one corpse I never thought I'd end up examining, it's Dr. Oculus's. Jake and I have had dealings with Dr. Oculus for such a long time. I'd actually grown to respect him. It is pretty surreal. Dr. Oculus seemed like he'd lived forever. And who knows what impact his death will have on the Coven leadership, but anyway, you better tell us about the body. Well, as I'm sure you guessed from the missing head, Dr. Oculus was killed by beheading. As you know, that's one of the only surefire ways to kill a vampire, and judging by the clean cut, he was killed with a sword. But that's not all. I found traces of deer blood on his shoulder, where the killer must have grabbed him before chopping off his head. Deer blood has actually become a popular alternative to human blood among vampires, since Dr. Oculus struck that deal with Jake not to hurt humans. But there was none in his stomach, which means it's your killer who enjoys deer blood. Yuck! If only deer blood had been enough to satiate our bloodthirsty killer, maybe they wouldn't have resorted to murder. Matthew, we came to the ball hoping to find the vampire who was plotting to concoct the invincibility elixir. We even made special stakes with Mina's blood in case we had to fight an invincible vampire, but things didn't go as planned. We found Dr. Oculus beheaded at his own Death Day party by one of his guests. We don't yet know how his murder is tied to the invincibility plot, but either way, Dr. Oculus was an important figure, and the closest thing we had to an ally among the vampires. His death is the last thing we needed. As for suspects, we've learned that Eric Zwart, the brooding boyfriend from our first investigation together, is a vampire. We also encounter Crazy Pants Bathsheba, who was devastated by the murder of her savior. And then there's Pierce. He was also upset by the murder, and the fact it messed up his plans for a romantic evening with me. Commercial I heard on the other one. Yes, I know he's a vampire and that's bad news, but you can't deny the chemistry between us, Matthew. Anyway. A tasty snack. Ow! Oh, gosh. And we'll see you guys for Chapter 2. And we're back. Let's start Chapter 2 of Immortal Combat. This is where we last left off on. Stay back, Bathsheba. Come an inch closer and I'll stake you through the heart. Naughty Snack. Snack shouldn't fight back. I swear. Gwen, don't! Please, Bathsheba is like a sister to me. I'll keep her under control if you just let her go. You'd better, because next time she comes at me, she's dead. Matthew, I guess it was only a matter of time before a vamp chomped down on me. Being at a vampire ball and all, but I better get Ben to give me a once-over. Matthew, I've checked Gwen over and she's going to be fine. She didn't ingest any of Bastia's blood, so there's no risk of her vamping out on us. She was adamant that she wanted to continue investigating with you, but I put her on bed rest. So I'm joining the investigation. Dr. Oculus was the most legendary vampire of all time, Matthew, and I know the chief had come to respect him, so solving his murder is my chance to prove to him that I deserve my spot on the team. So I suggest we search Dr. Oculus's bedroom to learn more about him. As you can tell, I'm still a little sick, but obviously well enough to do this. Got it. But I didn't get the first star. Matthew, when I became a hunter, I thought I'd be killing vampires rather than solving their murder. But we must find Dr. Oculus's killer if we're to discover who's behind this invincibility plot. Anyway, I learned just recently that mirrors sometimes retain a mystical impression of the last event which occurred in front of them. Crazy, right? Can you put that broken one back together? And let's search through that trash while we're here. Moment, folks. Okay. So I don't actually know how this memory retaining mirror thing works, Matthew, but hopefully Felix will. Wine bottle. Matthew, how did a full bottle of wine end up in the trash? It has a note on it. Happy Death Day, Dr. Oculus, and it's signed by someone called Eric. Oh right, he's that lovesick puppy you discovered was a vampire. But why would Dr. Oculus have thrown Eric's gift in the trash, Matthew? Let's ask him. Matthew, why have you brought yet another person to gawp at me as I wallow in misery? I'm not here to gawp. We just want to know about this bottle of wine you gifted Dr. Oculus. Why was it in the trash? Because nothing I did was good enough for Dr. Oculus. He was like an overbearing father, and I, the disappointing child. He took one look at that wine I brought, declared it unfit for consumption, and threw it in the trash in front of everyone. And he didn't stop there. He criticized my ballroom dancing and judged me for not holding my glass of deer blood by the stem. Fabian didn't even bring a gift to the ball, yet Dr. Oculus still fawned over him like he was the golden child. Now disturb me no longer with talk of these creatures I have the misfortune to call my family, Matthew. I can relate to having a difficult father figure, Matthew, but Eric sure had a lot of feelings about it. Enough to kill, maybe? Anyway, Eric let slip that Fabian Delamort is here. Another vampire you met in Oregon, right? Let's go question him. Well, well, well. Who is this pretty little creature you brought with you, Matthew? Who are you? Wait, are you talking about me? I am not pretty. Oh, come now, child. You're positively divine. Why don't you stay and play for a while? I could teach you how to ballroom dance, among other things. Look, we're here on business. Dr. Oculus has been murdered. Yes, what luck. There's nothing like a murder to liven up a party. But you and Dr. Oculus must go back centuries. You're not even a little bit upset your coven leader is dead? If I say yes, will you dry my tears? If not, I don't believe we have any more to say to each other. No, Matthew, I don't want to talk about what just happened. Let's get back to work. And I'll see you guys when the mirror is done. Okay, we are back now, and let's get the results of the mirror. Yo, Matthew, have you seen the latest episode of Weirder Stuff? Mind blown. I won't even ask you, Lou. I know the TV is a newfangled contraption to you. Very funny. Now, did that mirror contain one of those mystical memory impressions you told me about? It was freaking difficult to extract, but yes. Really, can we see it? Well, you won't be able to make anything out with without the necessary instruments, but here goes. Is that it? I couldn't see a thing. Told ya. So here's the lowdown. Shortly before Dr. Oculus's death, Pierce visited his room. I don't know what they were discussing exactly, but Pierce kept reassuring Dr. Oculus that he had a plan. Whatever this plan was, Dr. Oculus didn't seem happy about it, but the conversation ended there. So Pierce had a plan that Dr. Oculus didn't approve of. Matthew, what if this is tied to the elixir of invincibility plot? I know Gwen is a soft spot for Pierce, but I don't trust him. Let's ask him just what this plan of his was. Matthew, how is Gwen doing? I don't know if that's any of your business, given that it was one of yours who bit her. Look, I'm sorry for what Bathsheba did, but I never let Gwen come to serious harm. Do you really have feelings for Gwen, or were you just faking them to spy on the team? Was it you who stole that flower from us? Steal one of your flowers? I don't know what planet you're on, but if I wanted flowers, I'd just pilfer them from a grave like everybody else does. Then what was the plan you told Dr. Oculus about? Oh, that. Well, if you must know, I was telling Dr. Oculus about my plan to seduce Gwen at the ball. I had it all thought out. I'd have a breath mint to remove the smell of deer blood from my breath. Then I'd sweep her off her feet with a well-rehearsed ballroom routine. But Dr. Oculus didn't approve. Started droning on about it being an ill-fated romance. He always was a stick in the mud. Let's hope that's all it was. And speaking of dancing, we need to take another look around the ballroom, Matthew. Got it. Matthew, this place reminds me of one of the foster homes I lived in. I may or may not have run away. Anyway, back to work. This map is covered in arrows, like somebody was looking for something. Oh, somebody has written Grimoire of Blood, a book of legends on it. Matthew, whoever owns this map was obviously looking for the book which contained the recipe for the elixir of invincibility. We suspected Dr. Oculus's murder might be tied to our mystery vampire's quest for invincibility. Could this be proof? You better recover the fingerprints from the map. And if you want to open that cabinet, let's get down to business. Got it. Let's see if those fingerprints on the map match anyone we know, Matthew. Still dealing with my cold. Got it. Roxanne Vega. These fingerprints on the map belong to one Roxanne Vega. Didn't you meet her while investigating Lucy Winter's murder, Matthew? Right. She's the one with the bat, who was peddling party drugs. You had your suspicions that she was a vampire, and I guess this confirms it. Let's go question Roxanne. Our paths cross again, Matthew. I heard Bathsheba took a chunk out of that cute little friend of yours. I do hope she left your face untouched. Bathsheba's not the only one with a tendency to bite, is she, Roxanne? We know you're a vampire. And you've dropped the Reporter Act, so now we're being honest with each other. What can I do for you? We found your map. We know you were looking for the recipe to the elixir of invincibility. Matthew, do you know how many centuries it's been since I've seen the sun? Well, of course I was looking for the recipe. But I scoured the country from top to bottom, and it's nowhere to be found. It's harder to find than a competent ballroom dancing partner. And what about Dr. Oculus's murder? Do you know anything about that? Afraid not, but I have no doubt you precious little things will find his killer. Okay. 9, 1, 4, 2, 1. Huh, kind of like the shape of an arrow. Whoa, that's quite the weapons collection Dr. Oculus had in that cabinet, Matthew. But look, that sword aside has blood dripping from it. Ben said that Dr. Oculus was beheaded with a sword. Let's get it to Priya to see if this is it. I'll see you when this is finished. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the bloody sword. Matthew, I've just been to check on Gwen. She's putting on a brave face, but it's a stark reminder of how dangerous our profession is. It could have been much worse. She could have been bitten by a werewolf. I know what you meant. One werewolf bite and you're turned. You don't need to remind me. Anyway, I'm sure you want to hear about that sword you sent me. The blood was Dr. Oculus's, which means you've got your murder weapon. But what's more, I found traces of a moisturizer called Eternal Youth on the sword. But vampires are eternal. Why the heck would they need moisturizer? Even vampires need a little help to stay looking their best, Luke. But since Dr. Oculus's body didn't show any traces of moisturizer, it must have come from your killer. Well, I personally can't wait to look older, but now we know our killer uses Eternal Youth moisturizer. That'll narrow down the suspect list. Matthew, just when we thought we foiled the invincibility plot, a vampire or vampires stole the crucial ingredient from right under our noses. Meanwhile, Dr. Oculus was found beheaded at his death day party. Could one of his vampire party guests have an itch to walk in the sun? We found proof that Roxanne Vega was actively looking for the elixir recipe. She denied ever finding it, but the evidence will speak for itself. And then there's Pierce and his plan. Was it about seducing Gwen, like he claims? Or was he looking for the elixir too? Either way, Dr. Oculus wasn't happy about it. Eric, meanwhile, was sick of the preferential treatment Dr. Oculus gave his so-called siblings. He clearly felt like the black sheep of the family. And as for that creep, Fabian de la Morte, I don't even want to talk about... Matthew? What are you guys doing here? We found Dr. Oculus's head. Oh my goodness. Ugh. We'll see you guys for Chapter 3. We'll see where this leads. Alright, now we'll start Chapter 3 of Immortal Combat. We last left off with Hope and Priya finding this. What do you want me to do with this? Have you two been on our crime scene? The chief entrusted me with this mission. Don't get your panties in a twist. See, I had this idea that maybe Priya could sniff it out with her werewolfy senses. And I was right. We found the head in Dr. Oculus's bedroom. In the bedroom? But we already... You know what? Never mind. You guys put the head in the cold storage. Matthew, you and I had better check the bedroom out again. Gosh. Of course, I have been playing Pacific Bay and Save the World, and I've gotten up into the 6 figures on Save the World in terms of energy, and I've been trying to like make this 100,000 my limit, which is why I'm trying to get all 5 stars at the end, but I won't be doing that here. Unless perhaps I do a case in elite mode. Okay, I got it. Just a moment. Matthew, what's this fancy cup that was knocked over? You say Bathsheba mentioned something called the Chalice of Dominion, and that it belonged to Dr. Oculus? Right, I remember reading about this chalice, a huge ornate cup with a golden rim, just like this. And it's the ultimate vampire symbol of power. Collecting some of that powder might explain how it ended up on the floor. We should also recover the faded writing on the cover of this fancy book. And that torn up painting is sure to be a clue. I'll grab the glue. It's time to show the chief that we can solve this murder and uncover the vampire behind the invincibility elixir plot. Let's get down to work. A moment, folks. I'm going to get a few more stars. Okay. Got myself up to 21 stars. So here we go. Let's get everything taken care of. Let's put that powder from Dr. Oculus' so-called Chalice of Dominion under the microscope. Euphoria? Matthew, the powder on Dr. Oculus' Chalice of Dominion is a party drug called Euphoria. I didn't have Dr. Oculus pegged as the type to do drugs. Wait, I'm dumb. Your report on a previous case mentioned that Roxanne Vega deals Euphoria. But how did Roxanne's drugs end up on Dr. Oculus' Chalice? Let's question her. Roxanne, can you explain why your drugs were on Dr. Oculus' Chalice of Dominion? Because I used that chalice to toast Dr. Oculus's death with a glass of deer blood. But that chalice is sacred to you vampires. It's reserved for the coven leader. I don't need you to lecture me on vampire lore, human. The point is, Dr. Oculus had his time. He was stuck in the past. But with me in charge, this coven would have moved into the 21st century. I'd be a better leader than him. Of course I make sure to take care of the coven members too. After all, they're like siblings to me. I even tolerate Eric and Pierce using my Eternal Youth cream. So you admit that you wanted to depose Dr. Oculus. Is that why you were looking for the elixir recipe? I mostly just wanted it because I knew Dr. Oculus didn't approve. But now that someone finished him off for me, I can focus on what's really important, becoming the coven's leader. Now they're all in the running. Got it. Matthew, this is a painting of Fabian, and it has Amenintare written on it. Isn't that what Dr. Oculus wrote on that painting you found during your investigation into Lucy Winter's murder? It means threat in Romanian, right? So Dr. Oculus thought Fabian was a threat, did he? Oh man, I really don't want to talk to Fabian again, but I'm a professional, so let's do this. Change your mind about my offer, pretty boy? Stop calling me that. We want to know why Dr. Oculus thought you were a threat. Ah, that was just Dr. Oculus trying to suck the fun out of life. He learned of my, penchant for the untouched, shall we say. The untouched? You mean virgins? Funny you should mention that. Somebody's using the blood of virgins to make some kind of elixir, I know. Dr. Oculus told me. In fact, the old man was quite unpleasant to me about it, like it was somehow my fault, but my affinity for virgins has nothing to do with their blood. I just find the purity of their flesh irresistible, more inviting of sin, almost as much as you are, handsome. Ugh, no. And let's hope Dr. Oculus was wrong about you, and you're simply a pervert and not a conspirator and murderer too. Life and Times of Dr. Oculus. It's his diary. Matthew, the cover of this book reads, The Life and Times of Dr. Oculus. Sounds like a memoir. You're right. There's far too much info for us to go through. Let's get the book to Felix. And I'll see you guys when this is done in 12 hours. For now, this is Matthew. See you soon. Okay, we have returned. Let's get the results of Dr. Oculus's diary. Dudes, I swear, I live for stuff like this book of Dr. Oculus you sent me. It's a mind-blowing read. I like the enthusiasm, but please tell me there was something of use to us in that diary. Have I ever let you down? The book is Dr. Oculus's diary, a memoir all wrapped up into one. It dates back hundreds of years and details the history of its coven. He goes into a lot of detail about the steering process that is, when a vampire turns someone else into a vampire and the lifelong bond it creates. These vampires become a sort of family. I wonder what Dr. Oculus would say if he could see how callously his offspring would treat his death, Matthew. The only suspect who seems to mourn him is that crazy pants Bathsheba, and she's the only one who wasn't sired by Dr. Oculus. Well, that's a funny story, as it turns out. Dr. Oculus led Bathsheba to believe that he took her in after her original coven was killed. But his diary spills the beans on what really happened. It was Dr. Oculus who wiped out Bathsheba's coven in the first place. Whoa! What if Bathsheba found out that her generous foster daddy was really her coven's killer? You're right, Matthew. We should have another chat with Bathsheba, but we better be careful about after what she did to Gwen. Matthew, they told me to say sorry for snacking on your friend. Very tasty friend. I've heard more convincing apologies, but let's move on. We'd like to hear some more about your daddy. You loved your daddy very much, didn't you, Bathsheba? Daddy, he was good. He let me live in his beautiful castle with my brothers and sisters. But then he found out something about him, a secret he kept. Daddy lied to me. For centuries, bad thing he did to my family. He chopped all of their heads off himself. I asked him why he killed my coven and he didn't even remember. Said it was so long ago, but I found out I did. And I was angry when I found out. Very angry. I wanted to bite his head off, and now I want to bite yours off if you don't go away. Matthew, the chief will be here any minute, demanding a progress report, and I feel like the kid at school whose homework isn't done. To sum it up, the victim's head turned up, and so did various vampires who either want to eat us or seduce us. Fabian Della Creep enjoys the company of virgins, but denies lusting after their blood for invincibility reasons. Roxanne lusts after power, and Bathsheba is after revenge. Both perfect motives to kill the coven leader. But the main question is still, was Dr. Oculus involved in the vampire invincibility plot? Or did he get in the way of a rogue vampire or vampires brewing the elixir? We must crack this, Matthew. If we don't want an apocalypse of invincible vampires, let's check out the mansion again. Just barely. Matthew, our luck has turned. I bet that sheath goes with our murder weapon. And once we've got a sample of that pale substance from it, we should search that flower pot too. This is our chance to find Dr. Oculus' killer and thwart the vampire invincibility plot. Okay, let's get the sword sheath out of the way. Got it. Alright, Matthew, let's send the substance from the sword sheath to Priya, and we'll be a step closer to catching our vampire killer. Got it. His brooch. Matthew, what's with that brooch you found in the flower pot? You're saying you've seen this crest before on Dr. Oculus's cane? Then the brooch must have been torn off by Dr. A's coat in a fight. There's even a bit of fabric on it. I bet Priya will find a clue from the killer. And I'll see you guys when these two are finished. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the pale substance. Let's put a killer behind bars. Matthew, you saved me. My mom called 5 times. I love her dearly, but there's only so much I can take. Man, I haven't spoken to my family in years, and it's probably for the best. Anyway, we're on the clock here. Any news on that substance from the sheath? Yes, your killer left sweat on the sheath as they handled it. Not enough for a full DNA profile, but enough to isolate the genes in the sample for brown hair. Matthew, your killer has brown hair. So we're dealing with a brown-haired vampire who dared to kill the coven leader. We're coming for them, Matthew. Matthew, I expected this vampire ball to be eventful, but holding Dr. Oculus' severed head in my hand surpassed my expectations. I know. Between that and Gwen getting bitten by a vampire, this is a night to remember. But did you have any luck finding evidence on Dr. Oculus' brooch? Luck was not involved. Methodical scientific work was. I analyzed the strands of fiber that got caught on the pin. Most of it came from Dr. Oculus' clothing as the brooch was torn off. But there were also tiny red fibers that didn't match the old vamp's scarf. Look out for a suspect wearing red, guys. That's your killer. So the killer vampire wears red? We'll get them if it's the last thing we do. Matthew, I've heard you're ready to confront Dr. Oculus's killer. Yes, sir. We have all the evidence to make the arrest. And we have the stake dipped in Mina's blood at the ready, in case the vampire has already taken the invincibility elixir. An invincible vampire is no joke, kid. Maybe you should leave this in more experienced hands. Sir, I'm more than capable of handling this. Very well then. Just stay close to Matthew. Go and get him. I don't think it's Pierce. It's certainly not Bathsheba. No. No. Just as I thought, Eric Zwart. Eric Zwart, we know you're the one who beheaded Dr. Oculus. Ah, Matthew, still obsessed with the old man's demise? I understand. Cut it out, Eric. This shtick of poetic suffering might work on your girlfriends, but not on us. My suffering is a shtick to you? Oh, how little you know. You were not robbed of your youth like I was, condemned to bear the burden of eternity as a vampire. I was sent to war as a young lad, Matthew, to be slaughtered with millions of others. Dr. Oculus saved me, but what salvation was it? Confined to the shadows forever. Alright, we get it. You don't like being a vampire, but that's not why you killed your sire, is it? My sire? He's already underestimated me. Called me the runt of the litter, just because I'm only 98 years old. Until I showed him what the runt could do, the old fool had no idea it was me. He suspected everyone. Fabian, Roxanne. But it was me alone who dared to reach for the stars. It was me who stole the invincibility from the gods. It was me who made eternal life bearable by the sweet caress of sunshine. So it's true. You made the elixir. You found the grimoire of blood. Kidnapped Mina to harvest her blood and attacked Felix to steal the flower from us. Dr. Oculus tried to stop me. He gave me a speech about our duty to respect the agreement not to hurt humans. Your chief would have been touched. I was disgusted. So I toasted his death day with the elixir of invincibility, and then I dispatched the old coward to hell. And now there's nothing to stand in my way. I shall be free to walk the earth like your kind. No more hiding in darkness, no more fearing the stake. The flames cannot hurt me anymore. I can walk on the very rays of the moon, or rays of the sun. Watch me reclaim my birthright and live like the king of the earth. Oh no, Matthew. Eric's taken the elixir and it's working. The flames aren't doing anything to him. You cannot stop me now. That's what you think. The virgin blood you drank, the virgin blood shall end you. It worked! Eric's dead, no more than a pile of ashes. We killed the invincible vampire. Matthew, our work here is done. Let's go tell the chief. Chief, we did it. Eric Zwart, the invincible vampire, is no more. He may have killed Dr. Oculus, but he was no match for us. Don't let it go to your head, Luke, but I have to admit you did a decent job. Really? So does that mean I'm finally off probation? Am I a full-fledged member of this team now? I guess so, but you better stay close to Matthew. You still have a lot to learn. And now we have some loose ends to tie up. Get ready for more vampire adventures before the sun comes up. And I'll see you guys for our Taste of Blood 5-5. See y'all soon. And we've returned. Let's start a Taste of Blood 5-5. Matthew, now that we've taken care of Invincivamp Eric Zwart, there are some loose ends to tie up. We know Eric worked alone, but as long as the recipe for the elixir of invincibility exists, there will be vampires looking for us. So we need to find the recipe and destroy it for good. We know Roxanne Vega was trying to locate the recipe. Maybe we can see whether she knows anything about it. Matthew, there you are. Heard you and your pal gave Eric a one-way ticket to the afterlife. About time, if you ask me. Never met a guy less worthy of immortality. What do you want, Pierce? I'm looking for Gwen. I wanted to check up on her after, well, you know, after your sister took a bite out of her, you mean? Matthew, I don't want Pierce spending time alone with Gwen. Why don't you take him to see her once we're done talking to Roxanne? What now, Matthew? I'm in no mood for your questions. I'm guessing you heard about Eric and the elixir of invincibility? Must sting knowing he found the recipe before you. That idiot should have shared it with me. Instead, Eric spent half the time prattling on about the ground beneath us, whispering secrets. Probably some stupid reference to that dead girlfriend of his. Eric said the ground was whispering secrets? That definitely sounds like nonsense, right, Matthew? Anyway, things have turned out for the best. I've taken over leadership of the Coven now that Dr. Oculus is dead. I guess the whole invincibility thing wasn't meant to be, but no matter. Now I've got something else to focus on, dragging this Coven into the 21st century. Now take this money as a sign of my commitment to honor your chief's pact with Dr. Oculus. Matthew, are you thinking what I'm thinking? If Eric mentioned the ground whispering secrets, maybe he buried the recipe he ripped out of the Grimoire of Blood. It's a long shot, but if Eric might have hid the recipe on Dr. Oculus's land, we need to look for it. Good thing a bit of elbow grease doesn't scare me. Let's grab a shovel and head outside to start digging. All this digging reminds me of the summer I spent working on a farm, Matthew. At least this time there's no horrible boss yelling at me for taking a break. Did you hear that, Matthew? It sounds like we hit something. Let's get it out of the ground. Got it. Matthew, with any luck, this box we dug up might belong to Eric. And that means it might contain the recipe for the elixir of invincibility. Quick, let's get it unlocked and see what's inside. Matthew, I know better than to trust that it's safe to rummage through a box which has been buried in a vampire's garden for who knows how long. It could be cursed for all we know. Felix will know what to do with it. Let's send him the box. Gwen, love, how are you feeling? Cutesy names aren't going to make up for your sister using me as a snack, Pierce. And besides, need I remind you that we're over? About that, I was hoping to make it up to you. Would you care for that dance we didn't manage to have earlier? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure it's a good idea. Although it would be nice, but I don't have anything to wear. Roxanne has a bunch of dresses at Dr. Oculus's place. I'm sure you'd look ravishing in any of them. Why don't you go pick yourself out something nice? I'll wait for you there. Don't look at me like that, Matthew. One dance can't hurt. Let's head over to Dr. Oculus's mansion to find me a dress. Got it. Matthew, this dress looks like it'd be stunning if it wasn't ripped to shreds. I bet Pierce would like it too. Yes, I know, I shouldn't care so much about impressing Pierce, but he's just so... I don't even have the words to describe him. Let's put the dress back together so I can try it on for size. There we go. Moment, folks. I got a bathroom visit coming up right now. Huh. The dress is perfect for my dance with Pierce, but it's way too big. Priya's super into fashion. Maybe she can adjust the dress to fit me. 6 hours. I'll see you guys when these two are finished. So for now, this is Matthew. I'll see you again soon. And we've returned. Let's get the results of the open box. Please tell us that box was Eric's and that we didn't dig up half of Dr. Oculus's lawn for nothing, Felix. The box did belong to your boy. It mostly contained a bunch of harmless possessions. Dog tags in World War II, a lock of Lucy Winter's hair. But more importantly, the recipe for the elixir of invincibility. Great! Now we just need to destroy it. Destroy it? It's a priceless artifact dating back over 1,000 years. Sorry, bro. I know how you feel about ancient bits of paper, but we have no choice. I'll do the honors. Ta-da! Now we can rest easy knowing no more invincible vampires will be coming our way. I guess all that's left to do is update the chief, Matthew. Tell Jacob Arrow. Chief, we're pleased to report that the recipe for the elixir of invincibility has been destroyed. The threat has been neutralized. Not so fast, kid. The original instructions might no longer exist, but we know Dr. Oculus was aware of the elixir and looking for the culprit. If there's even a chance that he left some mention of the elixir in writing at his home, we need to find it and destroy it. I knew Dr. Oculus better than either of you. If he was hiding something, I'll find it. Luke, you're off the case.
Is Ping a message?
You're off the case. No but. I'm taking over the investigation, and that's final. Matthew, let's grab a snack and head to Dr. Oculus's bedroom. There we are. Matthew, let's get down to business. If Dr. Oculus was hiding something relating to the elixir, he would have kept it close to him. That drawer is an ideal hiding place. Let's search it. Matthew, that drawer contained a key with my name on it. There's no mention of the elixir of invincibility, but I'm curious about this key. Dr. Oculus must have left it here for me to find. But why? Maybe Hope can give us an answer. Let's get the key to her. Six hours. I will speed this up. Get the results of the dress now. So I take it you and Pierce are back on, Gwen? I can't keep up. I wouldn't say that exactly. We're just, you know, hanging out. Hanging out in a ballroom wearing a fabulous gown? Sounds a lot like a date to me. I'm almost jealous. I thought I'd never want to date again after my divorce. But now I'm starting to think I wouldn't mind being on the receiving end of some male attention. Well, I'm in no position to be doling out relationship advice. My date is a 169-year-old vampire. Anyway, I better not keep Pierce waiting any longer. Time to put on my dancing shoes, Matthew. Pierce, I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. It was worth the wait. You look beautiful. I can't keep my hands off you a moment longer. May I have this dance, Gwendolyn? I'd like nothing more. Matthew, do you mind holding my jacket? Ooh. Pierce, no! Uh-oh. You nearly bit me! After all I've been through today with that psycho Bathsheba. I didn't, I swear. Your blood just smelled so good. Yeah, Bathsheba thought the same. Look, Pierce, I've enjoyed whatever this thing is between us. And don't get me wrong, because I think you're super hot. But this isn't going to work. I'll never be safe around you. I didn't want to admit it before, but you're right. I don't know if I can trust myself around you either. Just take care of yourself, Gwen. There's a lot of things out there that go bump in the night. Let's get this key sped up. Chief, Matthew, trying to identify the origin of this key was the most fascinating endeavor. Cut to the chase, Hope. Do you know what the key's for? It unlocks a safety deposit box at Debit Suisse, one of the oldest financial institutions in the world. My guardian used to bank there. But I digress. Debit Suisse has a branch here in California. I've sent the address to your phone, Matthew. Trust Dr. Oculus to choose someplace fancy as a hiding spot, but what the heck could he have left for me in a safety deposit box? I hope this isn't a wild goose chase. Let's get over to that bank, Matthew. The teller said the key is for box 263. Ah, found it. Let's see what's inside. Matthew, there's a letter in here. It says, Dear Jake, as you have failed to heed my warning of an evil darkness stirring, I have no choice but to gather the necessary proof. My sources in the southwest have informed me that a malevolent force is sapping the life force of both livestock and the very land itself. I do not yet know what beast may be responsible, but one thing is clear. The cadavers it leaves behind are tainted with sulfur. I intend to travel to the southwest immediately after my Death Day ball, so that I may investigate further. And that's where the letter ends, Matthew. So Dr. Oculus was on the tail of some evil darkness in the southwest, which has been sapping animals of their life force? I need some time to wrap my head around all of this, Matthew. I'll meet you back at base. I'm sure you guys will all be delighted to learn that I've broken it off with Pierce. Oh, Gwen, I'm sorry to hear that, but perhaps it's for the best. Perhaps? How about definitely for the best? Need I remind you people that this is a place of work, not a playground? And we have a bigger problem on our hands than a failed romance. I've thought about the letter Dr. Oculus wrote to me. Talk of an evil darkness which has been sapping cattle and vegetation of their life force isn't much to go on. But Dr. Oculus was clearly spooked, and anything that can scare him scares me. Matthew, we're heading to the southwest to investigate it for ourselves. 5 new cases. First I'll show you how my things are holding up, my lucky cards. And November 21st, that's in 2 days' time, that's another Thursday. Five new ones. Alright, that's going to do. And I'll see you guys on November 21st. See y'all soon. Thank you for watching.